Welcome back to Hannity. So, since leaving office, Vice President Dick Cheney has not been silent about his concern regarding the disastrous foreign policy decisions that are made by the Obama administration. In his latest book, it's in stores tomorrow, the former vice president, along with his daughter Liz, outlined the reasons why the United States need to lead on the world stage. Joining us now to explain more, the authors of Exceptional: Why the World Needs a Powerful America, former Vice President Dick Cheney, his daughter Liz Cheney. Liz, of course, a Fox News contributor. Thank you both. I have my autographed copy right here, and it's on Amazon bookstores tomorrow. I like to say that America should lead and America should be exceptional. This president has a hard time acknowledging American exceptionalism.
I don't think he believes it.
I don't think he does either.
I think his worldview just doesn't reflect reality.
When you say that, think about what you just said. We have a president of the United States that his worldview does not reflect reality, and he has his finger on the nuclear buttons. That's a little scary when you combine them, no?
Well, initially, I think when you start out trying to evaluate him, as we all do when you get a new president, you think, well, he made a mistake here. That's a bad judgment. But now you look back over 6, going on 7 years, and there's a pattern there that's very consistent, and it seems to be based on a set of beliefs that is unique from recent presidents. One of the key things, reasons Liz and I wanted to write the book, was what he represents is a break with the history of the last 70 or 75 years. We're on a bipartisan basis. We've had presidents who believed in American exceptionalism.
Yeah, and he said as much, Liz.
No, he has, and I think one of the reasons that you're seeing sort of disaster after disaster around the world is this idea that he has, this ideology that he has, is coming crashing up against reality. And, you mentioned having his finger on the nuclear button. He seems not to recognize a difference, frankly, between a situation in which the United States has a nuclear arsenal and Iran has access to, or a pathway to, a nuclear arsenal. He said as much. He said that,
he said the breakout time will be 10 years.
Right.
It'll be 0 in 10 years.
Yes, but he also has said, that no nation has the right to tell other nations whether they can have nuclear weapons. And what his agreement really does is ensure that Iran will, in fact, have not just one nuclear weapon, but an entire nuclear arsenal. And the 10-year period assumes they don't cheat. And clearly the historical record is they cheated every single time.
Here's the deal to me, Mr. Vice President. $150 billion the Iranians get, the number one sponsor of terror. During the negotiations, the Iranians said that the destruction of Israel is non-negotiable. Right. They were burning American flags, threatening America, threatening Israel. Number one state sponsor of terror. They continue conventional weapons building. They're doing a deal now for missile defense with Russia.
S-300s.
They build their ICBMs so they can launch the missiles and maybe reach the United States. And I'm thinking, we didn't even get 4 American hostages out of this deal. Is there one thing America got out of this deal?
Not that I can think of it. As I look at it all the way down, and what he set out as his objectives: no nukes for Iran. Well, that's gone by the boards. No enrichment by the Iranians. That's gone by the boards. Every concession that got made was made by Barack Obama to the Iranians, and it shows in the final result. I think you've talked about the situation with respect to the nuclear situation, but look over at the stuff they did at the last minute on the side on conventional weapons.
Do we even know every side deal?
Well, we don't know. There are some side deals we don't know about.
That's scary, too. You liken this deal to the Munich Pact, and that is Neville Chamberlain, peace with honor and peace in our time. No such thing was ever going to happen. I say that's a simple formula. A squared, B squared equals C squared, 1 and 1 equals 2. I think radical Islamic mullahs with weapons of mass destruction equals a modern-day Holocaust. Am I wrong or am I right?
No, I mean, sadly, Sean, I think that's a very real potential. Charles Krauthammer has pointed out that an Iran armed with nuclear weapons could be able to kill 6 million Jews, the population of Israel, in a day, something that it took Nazi Germany 6 years to do. So, you have a situation where this deal actually makes war more likely, not less likely. Everything the president said about it isn't true. And he's now out there saying those of us who oppose the deal want war. But I think it's important for people, as they begin to think about how they're going to vote on this deal, to recognize that a vote for the deal means a vote to give hundreds of billions of dollars to the world's worst state sponsor of terror, a vote to give them access to ballistic missile technology, conventional weapons,
they spend their
and an arsenal of nuclear weapons.
All right, let me move to a little politics. Hillary Clinton seems to get weaker and weaker every day. What do you make of her email scandal?
I think it's significant. I don't know any more details than what I see in the press, but I know from my own experience that when you go into those kinds of jobs, you're briefed on the enormous importance of being very careful with how you handle classified information. And in fact, it looks to me like she approached it in a very sort of amateurish, non-professional way.
Maybe law breaking involved when all said and done.
We don't know yet, but obviously it's a situation where I think it's very, very serious. I don't think it's something you're going to be able to just blow away. If you look at what David Petraeus, General Petraeus, got nailed for, he passed a few documents on to somebody else who also had clearances, but not those particular set of clearances. And of course, he ended up in probation for 2 years, but it was in fact a serious violation. We're talking here about maybe thousands of documents. Nobody knows.
Did you really urge Joe Biden to run?
I did. I said, Joe, I'd love to. I didn't say it to Joe, but we're not close. Obviously, we're opposite parties, but I think it'd be great if Joe got into the race. He's wanted to run. He ran twice before. I think they're short of candidates on their side. We got 17. They're a long
17,
way to
think
go.
That's enough at this point? We have now two separate debates. What do you make of, I'll ask both of you, Liz first, of the Trump tsunami? It came out of nowhere, dominating in the polls. What do you make of it?
Well, I think, first of all, we've both said that we're not endorsing anybody at this point. We really want.
By the way, I'm not either. I got to play down the middle a little bit.
But and I also want to have a candidate who's very focused on these national security issues. I think when you look at the phenomenon of Mr. Trump, you're seeing, he's tapping into a nerve. I think people do not like where we are after 7 years of this president. They don't like the extent to which the president has walked away from America's traditional powerful role in the world. And so I think some of that really is touching a nerve. And I think we've got a number of candidates, frankly, on our side who are saying the same sorts of things.
Who are people that, maybe 5, that intrigue you the most? Is that a fair question? Is that a way that I can get something out of you?
Sean.
I agree with Liz.
What are you looking, well, here's a better question. For example, I am looking for the most conservative candidate, because I believe conservatism works, who can articulate a message, inspire people, and win.
And I would add, I want somebody who's going to make front and center absolutely the most important issue, national security. That's why we wrote the book.
Yeah.
We were concerned in the last election that it really didn't get the attention it deserved. And I think it's so crucial. I think we're in so much trouble now with the rising threats around the world, ISIS, China, Russia, and declining American capacity to deal with those threats because of what's happened to our military, that it's more important than ever that be the number one issue.
It's interesting you say that. The question that has been posed to the Republican candidates, knowing what you know now, would you have gone into Iraq? And I think a better question is, knowing what we know now, should we ever have pulled out without finishing the job?
That's the key question.
And I think it will turn out Ramadi, Fallujah, Mosul, Tikrit. I mean, we just handed it back to ISIS, a worse enemy.
Right.
Right. Well, absolutely. And I think this is where Secretary Clinton has got a lot of answering to do, in addition to the legal problems it looks like she will likely have. She was Secretary of State during the first term of this disastrous foreign policy. So this isn't a book that just sort of goes through chapter and verse of what the president's done wrong. Secretary Clinton has to bear a huge amount of responsibility for that as well.
All right, are you going to run for office?
We'll see. Not right now. I have no plans.
Okay.
But, I'll be sure to let you know, Sean.
You wanted to run for office?
I'm happy to support her, whatever she chooses to do. Okay. And as long as she lets me co-author her books, that's great.
Oh, that's nice of you, Dad.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right, a friendly moment. All right, good to see you both. We'll have more with you later in the week, and we're looking forward to that. Thank you both.
Sean.
Good to see you, Sean.